Have you ever heard the story of the Lost Song of Ayutthaya? There is a legend that, if you hear an ancient melody one night among the ruins of an old temple, you might see something you were never meant to see. Something hidden in the shadows of the past. The music calls out to those brave enough to follow. And sometimes, those who do may never return the same. Tonight, I will take you to follow the path of the lost song. Into the ruins of Ayutthaya, where mysteries, sorrow, and horrors await that you will never forget. Do you dare to walk with me and uncover the lost song? One night in Ayutthaya, a cold breeze passed through the ruins of the old temple. The sound of leaves brushing against each other disturbed the mind. I walked along the old stone road. The light from the floating lanterns flickered, mingling with the shadows. Every step made my heart beat faster. The smell of old incense mixed with damp earth. The sound of water dripping from the wooden roof created unease. I stopped walking. I heard a faint sound of music. It sounded like an ancient song I had never heard before. The music floated on the wind, passing through the old brick ruins. I followed the sound without realizing it. The lantern light reflected on the temple walls, creating shadows that looked like people dancing. But as I got closer, the music stopped immediately. Silence replaced it. My heart raced. I looked around. No one was there. Suddenly, I felt a strong cold wind, and a soft whisper came from behind. I turned around, but there was no one there. Only the faint floating lantern light moving past. And the lost ancient song echoed in my heart. The music started again, but this time it carried weight and sorrow mixed with fear. I stepped back. My feet touched the cold puddles, numbing me. And I saw a thin shadow walking among the temple ruins. But the figure did not breathe, and its eyes were full of emptiness. I tried to run away, but it felt like the ground swallowed my steps. Every step grew heavier. The music echoed louder in my head, as if calling me to stay. I had to turn back, and saw the figure moving closer. I froze in place as the shadow grew closer, its movements slow and deliberate. Each step it took made the wooden floorboards moan as if protesting my presence. The music, soft and sorrowful, seemed to weave around me, tightening like a noose. I could feel my heartbeat in my throat, loud and uneven. A cold mist began creeping along the ground, curling around my ankles. It smelled faintly of old paper and ash, something I could not place but knew I should fear. I tried to call out, but my voice caught in my chest. All I could do was watch as the figure approached, step by step, silent yet inevitable. Suddenly, a lantern wavered and fell, shattering on the stone floor. Its light flickered one last time before darkness swallowed it. In the dim glow, I saw the figure more clearly. It was tall, dressed in robes that seemed torn and frayed, as if centuries had passed over them. Its face, or what should have been a face, was pale and smooth, featureless, but somehow it watched me. I stumbled backward, tripping over a broken brick. Pain shot up my leg, but fear propelled me forward, past columns and crumbled walls. The music shifted, faster, urgent, almost pleading. I realized it was coming not just from the figure, but from everywhere, the walls, the stones, the air itself. A sudden gust blew through the ruins, extinguishing all remaining lanterns. I was plunged into darkness, broken only by the faint silver light of the moon. The shadow halted, as if waiting, then extended something toward me. A hand, long and skeletal, reached through the mist, fingers curling like tendrils. I screamed, more out of instinct than sound, and turned to flee. The ground beneath me gave way. Slightly, as if the earth itself wanted to trap me. I fell into a shallow depression filled with water, icy and unforgiving. The music became a chorus now, layered and haunting. Voices whispered words I could not understand, yet they carried meaning deep into my bones. I tried to stand, but my leg gave out again. The shadow leaned closer, silent, almost tender in its menace. Its hand hovered over my shoulder, and for a moment, the cold did not feel like wind, it felt like it seeped into my soul. Memories I did not know I had surfaced. Voices from my childhood, laughter that once belonged to a family long gone, moments of joy twisted into fear. The shadow seemed to feed on these memories, drawing them out with the music. I scrambled backward, grasping a fallen wooden beam. Its surface was rough, splintered, but it gave me leverage. I swung blindly, hoping to strike, hoping to break the spell. The shadow recoiled, and for a brief moment, I thought I had freed myself. Then the air shifted, and the music became louder, more insistent. It was no longer sorrowful, it was demanding. It wanted me to stay, to join it in the ruins. I crawled toward a broken staircase, each movement heavy and slow. The shadow followed without sound, and yet I felt its presence in every breath. As I ascended, I noticed symbols etched into the stone walls, glowing faintly in the moonlight. They pulsed with the rhythm of the music, like a heartbeat belonging not to me, but to the ruins themselves. I realized then that the song I had been hearing was not merely music. It was a call, a trap, and a memory all at once. My mind screamed for rationality. Ruins are ruins. Shadows are shadows. Music is music. But the cold, the whispers, the impossibility of distance, everything defied reason. I stumbled onto the temple courtyard, open to the night sky. Moonlight poured down, illuminating the scattered relics of Ayutthaya's past. The shadow hesitated at the edge, as if unwilling to leave the darkness behind. I gasped, finally finding my voice. "Who are you?" I shouted into the night, desperation cutting through fear. The shadow paused. Then a voice, hollow and echoing, replied. "I am the song you lost." The words chilled me more than the wind. I did not understand, but my mind tried anyway. The song I had heard on the wind, the music haunting the ruins, it was alive. It had a shape, a will, and now it demanded recognition. Before I could react, the shadow stepped forward. The ground beneath my feet began to pulse with light, matching the rhythm of the song. I stumbled back, falling to the cold stone. The world tilted. The music enveloped me entirely, filling my head with notes and feelings too deep to name. I felt my body being pulled, as though the ruins themselves were drawing me in, offering release and terror simultaneously. I screamed again, and the shadow's voice filled my mind. "You cannot leave until the song is remembered. You cannot forget what was lost." Panic and understanding collided. I tried to resist, to run, but the ruins seemed infinite. The moonlight fractured across broken columns, creating illusions of pathways that were not real. Every step I took led me back to the shadow, its form growing clearer with every heartbeat. Then, a sudden clarity. The song was not just in the ruins. It was in me. Every memory, every whispered moment of history, every lost voice of Ayutthaya's past, it lived within me, and the shadow was the keeper. I realized the song had chosen me, and escape was no longer possible. I dropped to my knees, exhausted and trembling. The music swelled to a crescendo. The shadow loomed above, hand extended, waiting. I could feel the pulse of centuries in that touch, the weight of lives long gone. My vision blurred, heart racing, mind teetering between fear and surrender. Then, as my fingers brushed the cold air near the shadow, the music stopped abruptly. Silence fell heavier than anything I had ever felt. The ruins were still, the wind gone, the mist vanished. The shadow was gone. But the song lingered inside me. A melody that could not be forgotten. A memory that could not be erased. I rose slowly, shaken, aware that Ayutthaya had given me a secret no one else could know. And somewhere, deep within, I could feel the shadow waiting. Days passed after that night in the ruins. Ayutthaya seemed unchanged, quiet, and serene, as if it had never harbored the shadow. Yet, the song remained within me. I could hear it in silence, in the rhythm of the wind through the trees, in the trickle of water along old stone paths. I returned to the temple ruins during the day, sunlight filtering through the broken columns. The stones felt warm under my hands, solid and real. The fear of the night had not completely vanished, but it was tempered by understanding. I realized the shadow was not a threat, but a guardian, of history, of memory, of the voices of Ayutthaya. Sitting among the ruins, I hummed the melody I had once feared. It was sorrowful, yes, but also beautiful, like a thread connecting past and present. The song seemed to breathe with me, rising and falling with my heartbeat. As I left the temple that day, the wind carried a faint note, like a farewell whisper. I smiled, a strange warmth spreading in my chest. The lost song had found me, and I had found it. It would live through me now, remembered and honored, no longer lost. And in the quiet streets of Ayutthaya, when the moon rises and shadows stretch long, I know the ruins are listening. The music lives. The story remains. And sometimes, just sometimes, I think I hear a soft voice, whispering, "Thank you." The memory of that night stayed with me forever. Not as fear, but as a reminder that some mysteries are not meant to terrify, but to guide, to teach, and to preserve the beauty of what was nearly forgotten.